5, 4, 3, 2.
Tier 1 Performance.
Welcome to the Tier 1 Performance Podcast, guys. This is your guest, Mitch Matulia. Today's special guest is a professional Muay Thai fighter with a record of 12-3-1. Also, he is the owner and the founder of Sammy's Muay Thai in Spring, Texas. And he's fought in lots of different countries, guys. And we are welcoming Sammy the Bull, Mongonia today. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man. It's an honor to have you on, man. You treated me with nothing but respect and kindness since the minute I met you, which has been about 3 months or so. And, man, we got a lot of topics to cover today, guys. But, yeah, I want to kind of get into your background and where you grew up and kind of your upbringing, what that was like.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I was homeschooled growing up. And usually homeschooling is usually either a good thing or a bad thing. I worked a lot growing up from like 14 on to working full time until I was like 17, moving out, stuff like that. I was over by, you know where the Sammy's Race Park is? It's like 290 and like Winford area. That's pretty much where I grew up, like for the most part. Didn't start martial arts until I was about 19. That was when my dad had passed away, and it was something for me and my brother to kind of be close together. And never really thought about it as like actual, being able to fight or even feed my family doing what I do now. You know what I mean? So it started out with really just my brother losing weight, and then he started getting in shape, and then I shortly right after him started getting in shape too with them. So.
Wow,
yeah.
That's awesome, man. So, like, were you involved in any other sports growing up? Or was
because I was homeschooled, I was limited back on that. So what I mean by that was like we couldn't really play sports too much. I played basketball, which is not a sport I want to do. But I have a personality too, where it's like I have kind of one mindset. So like if I'm gonna do something, I put my all into it pretty much.
Yes.
So I never really played basketball growing up, but as a homeschooler, that was the only sport that I could play. I played football until I got up to like high school age, when I had to play for high school. So then the only sport I could play was basketball. So I played basketball.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so
I'm short, so
they
didn't work out too well.
Well, we're short. Why basketball's not this sport?
Yeah.
So your father passed when you were 19,
yep.
And you and your brother you bonded over mixed martial arts at the beginning, because it wasn't just Muay Thai from the get-go, was it?
I started Muay Thai from the get-go.
Okay.
And then I moved over to teaching at a MMA gym for about 12, 13 years. And so I helped run the Muay Thai department on there. So it started off as Muay Thai, went to more like an MMA, and then moved back into Muay Thai.
Got you. So what was the first gym you ever joined?
Krupong's Thai boxing. That's if you know anything about like striking. Any coach really from that have anything to do with striking or in general in Houston has been to Krupong's growing up.
Okay.
In general.
So it's just, you know him. Like everyone in the game knows who he is.
Yeah, he recently passed away this last year, and he was 67 for the 17 years I knew him. So, old Thai guy, you know what I mean? But yeah, straight from the motherland.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
And so, did you, like when you initially got into Muay Thai, was it just, were you good from the start, or did it take like a while? I
was athletic, which being athletic in a mixed martial arts, any types of martial arts, Muay Thai especially, because you can be, there's no belt system. So if you're athletic and smart, you can carry really quickly. Some guys are really smart, but they're not athletic, and some guys are really athletic and not smart. So you have to figure out how to, as a coach too, how to train that type of person. For me, I was super athletic, so I can get in there. If we were sparring hard, I could sit there and bang with someone because I was athletic. But luckily I got slowed down before my career really started. So in my 2 to 3 fights, usually an athletic person can go 3 to 5 fights and do really well for themselves. Then they start running into the thinkers and the guys that are athletic. that's when they start going straight to the bottom. So you'll see if they're fighting locally, like 1 to 5, they're 5-0, and then all of a sudden they freaking drop off at 3, 4, 5 fights, and then they stop because, or normally what happens is they get one fight and then they're just done, or one loss and they're done, because they don't know what that feels like. You know what I mean? So luckily I got slowed down before I started that, and then started getting like things put together, and then I was athletic, so it carried me a little faster. My brother was not athletic and was smart, so it took him 2 to 3 fights really to start ramping up. And once he started ramping up, then he started taking out the guys that were athletic in the get-go.
Because a lot of it seems like it's like a chess match, trying to read your opponent and trying to like work to your strengths and advantages. And also, is there any film study involved with that? Like as far as
so, as a coach, you should do film study. I personally am in my head a lot, so I don't really do a lot of study as far as like the opponent that I'm fighting. We have the art of 8 limbs, and we have the clinch, and we have. So I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm a puncher, I'm an elbower, I'm a clincher, I'm a kicker. I'm going to be whatever you're not. So literally before I usually fight, what goes through my head, or I talk to my coach at the time, will be like, all right, check his clinch, see where he's at. If he's boxing with you, kick him across his forearm, slow his arms down. If you're trading back and forth, then are you grabbing the clinch and his clinch isn't good, then that's where you're going to hang out. So what you're not is what I need to be at that moment. And as soon as I take a round from you, putting them in my pocket, then I come out, did you adjust for the next round? Do I need to adjust now, or is it not broken? You know what I mean?
Right.
So if it's not broken, then I'm not going to fix it. And hopefully that'll carry me through the rounds. Usually a 5-round fight, things change. You get tired, you get clipped. There are lots of different things that can happen in that.
And how many months, how many years did it take for you to fight your first amateur fight?
I actually was for like my gym right now, man, I've had guys fight at 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. Under the right coaching, you can do something like that. I was about 2 years in when I first, but the gym I was out of, we didn't really compete a lot. So whenever I went in there, I just demolished the guy like straight out the gates. He was a Taekwondo guy, had a little kickboxing background, stuff like that. But I've been trained about the same amount of time, but as the first fight, we just went in there and I was just over prepared, you know what I mean? Which is a good thing to have.
Yes, entirely. And I feel like you do a good job of like you get your fighters fighting guys who have similar experience levels, correct?
Yes.
Similar skill sets. You have to protect them, right?
Yeah.
And it's good for their confidence, I'm sure, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you took 2 years. Now, were you doing any weight training up to this, or were you just, how many days a week were you putting into Muay Thai?
So I was, growing up, super fat.
Really?
I had that genetic. People say there is a genetic. I mean, my son stacks on muscle and fat easy, so does my daughter. I have to watch out like what I'm eating like to a T. If I F off like a couple of days in a row, then I'll start stacking things on, which to a normal person may not be stacked on, but to myself being active, you know what I mean? So I was actually heavy. I started lifting weights, I think, when I was around, and I didn't get a gym membership or anything. And I literally saved up my money, grew up really poor, saved up money. I bought two sets of 2-pound weights from Academy, and I used to do 50 reps here, 50 reps here. And I would sit there and do that. And then later on, I started working through that, and I bought some milk jugs. And I had some milk jugs, filled those up with water, and I would like sit there and curl with those. I didn't have money for like a bench press or anything, so I took some like some cinder blocks and put them in two buckets, and then I took like a little broom handle and just like, and I would sit there and rip those till I got older and I got a little bit of money and saved up and got weights. But I lifted weights, I think, from 13, 14 till about 17, 18, 19 when I started doing Muay Thai. And then between working full time, just being active, I didn't really lift a whole lot of weights. Right. People always look at me and they're like, you don't lift weights? I really don't. I do a little bit now for my legs, but I don't too much on the upper body stuff. But I do rubber bands occasionally. But.
So you don't need to lift weights to get jacked, guys.
I'm trying.
But you do a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of other stuff, which, like, I hold Thai pads a lot.
Yeah.
Thai pads, you know, when they're punching and stuff, you're sitting there holding the pads, and they're a couple pounds, you know what I mean? So, like, it just, you're sitting there working out with them. They're burning out calories, you're burning calories, too, at the same time.
You're tense the whole time.
Yeah.
And so what kind of jobs are you working, like, whenever you're trying to make it as a fighter?
So, I mean, I honestly, it's funny you say that, because, like, I try to really program the guys within my gym to, if you're going to work hard, in the gym, you need to work hard outside of the gym. Okay, you're gonna make sacrifices. That's gonna be like, maybe I'm not going out on the field in the oil rigs and stuff. See, I worked in oil and gas for a long time, and people are like, "Oh, you worked in oil and gas, so you made money." No, I was a grunt. I worked on hydraulics, and I literally got my schedule where I could work from 6 to about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then I could get to the gym, and then my life started, like, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I could have went out and made more money and did different things, but I decided I didn't want to do that because I had dreams. I wanted to fight. I didn't want to open a gym. I didn't want to do anything like that, but I did want to fight, whether that was being a pro or whatever that looked like, or being a top fighter in the U.S. Like, I wanted to do it. And I have an addictive personality, so I have to be real careful of, like, I'm probably the most interesting, boring person in the world, literally, that you'll ever meet, because I don't drink, I don't smoke. I've never done any of that stuff. Some people, when I'm telling them I don't drink, they're like, when's it? No.
AA?
Yeah, I was like, no, I've never drank. I kind of grew up like in the church a lot, so I didn't do a lot of things. And then as I got older, I was like, man, I made it this far, like, why do it now, But I have an addictive personality, which is, a person with addictive personality can either do two things. You can either rise you to the top, or it can sink you straight to the ground. Like, literally, because of the fact of, like, if you go towards, like, drugs and different things, or spending money and different stuff, it's going to sink you straight down. And if you're going to work hard and turn it for other things, then you can, whatever bar it is that you want to hit, you hit, and then you hit the next one. You know what I mean?
Entirely. And I feel like, with the exception of maybe John Jones, most professional fighters, they stay that way as well.
Yeah.
Really disciplined, no drinking, no drugs,
And I mean, I'm not going to say, like, some guys smoke and do different things. I'm not saying
Right.
it's going to freaking mess you up. I personally, I love hot rods. I love freaking, like, World War II stuff. So instead of spending money on a beer, I'd rather save my money and buy freaking parts for motors and stuff like that. That's my personal fix.
Yeah.
Not everyone's fix, but it's my personal fix.
You're history buff too, right?
I am a history buff. I am, like, World War II stuff. I like that
Yeah.
junk. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, like, okay, what other countries have you been fighting in?
I fought a lot of stateside. Probably most guys that have as many fights as I have, as far as, like, my semi-pro record up to my pro record, is about 61 total. But that was before they started doing actual pro in the U.S. When you're overseas and you fight, it's fighting's fighting. It's it's pro. It's there's no amateur kind of. So guys will just, they'll have their amateur record, then they move overseas, and all of a sudden it turns into their pro record. They come back, and then now they have however many fights. I didn't get that opportunity. Mine have been all, like, my actual pro record's my pro record. My semi-pro is, like, under the half of it. So you flip the card the other side, I got 60 fights. You look at me as a pro, I got, whatever, not as many. But as far as, like, traveling and fighting, working full time as a dad and everything, it's pushed me back as far as that. But I like to, in fighting, you have to change things for being a stateside opposed to being overseas when you're competing. Me and my wife both fought for the IFMA, which is basically the Olympics for the Muay Thai. We both represented it twice. We fought in Malaysia, fought in Thailand. Pretty much, I was gonna fight in Uganda. That's a whole other type of story. But little, like, Mexico, Canada, stuff like that. So kind of a little bit of everywhere. Yeah.
That's cool, man. And I mean, whenever something that you're passionate about can take you to other places to see things that you would have never seen otherwise,
yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a cool experience.
Yeah, for sure.
And so going into the mental health side of things, right? I mean, do you find that most fighters, or at least for yourself, when you got into fighting, was there, I don't know, what did you have to overcome? Were there inner demons that you faced, like, entering the fight community and getting the fight world?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so if you're an athlete that's playing basketball, football, or something, you're a team.
Correct.
Okay? You're a ship, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a ship and you wind up going down, everyone goes down. When you're a fighter, it's you, homie. Whether you got coaches, you got this, you got that. And obviously your coaches feel bad, your training partners, their heart's in there too when you're fighting. But it's you in there.
Yeah.
Like, your hand gets raised or it doesn't. You're the highest highs, the lowest lows. So when I try to be really respectful, like, if hurting people, it's a sport that I play. Okay, I'm gonna try to hurt you. I'm gonna try to do what I can to slow you down to get that win. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, it is a sport that we play, and, like, as far as the mental game of things, man, people don't realize where it starts. Like, It's, your diet. And most of us are fat kids. So like you give me a couple of days, I fought in Thailand. I was walking around at 154, and I think 3 or 4 days I got back to the States between me and swelling and flying and ice cream and everything else. I was close up to 180, literally in like 3-4 days.
Really?
So like you're just, oh man, you get the okay to freaking eat and just eat whatever you want, and like you just blow up, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm naturally a big guy. I can get up to 190 pounds easy, and I fight at 140, 47, 145 in that area. So depending on what league it is, obviously. So one thing is, obviously, you're never training enough. That's your mentality, okay? At least for myself. And I always want to outwork that other person. So when I try to tell my guys too, at the gym, even to this day, is you work hard outside the gym, you work hard in the gym, and I will not be outworked in either one of those. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you get fighters that are like, oh, I'm gonna be this big, whatever, and then they're financially living off their mom or dad, or they're financially living off their girlfriends. I had kids, but I didn't give up my dream. And for what I was wanting to do, I just included them in my dream, if that makes sense.
If anything, you had to work harder because of
it. Yes. And so when I looked across the ring, that person's in my world. Mm-hmm. I work harder than you because I know you're sleeping in the basement of your parents' home. I have a home that I worked hard for, that I work 8 hours a day for. And then I work after that doing private coaching and being a dad and everything else. So I'm going to work harder than you are so that I'm going to beat you. Very simple, from the ground up.
Exactly, which only enhances your confidence.
Yes.
And your overall security with yourself.
It does, but then when you flip the script of like, oh man, I'm doing all this,
right,
and he's just concentrating on me, that's where like your mental comes across too. But I have to remind myself that like you don't want it as bad as I do.
Right.
Life in general.
Yes. And so whenever you go into a fight, are you in a dark place, or do you view it more as like a sport?
To me, I try not to live my life as like, I don't live my life for other people, but I do live my life to be a light to other people, if that makes sense. Yes. We all had those things in the back of our heads. I don't care who you are, the best person you are, it doesn't matter. We all have those things in the back of our head that you wish would just go away. Right. But they make you who you are today. And so like for me, there was a band that was called Falling Cycle. I was a musician growing up from 12 till I started fighting, so I was in the musician world, we were playing music, stuff like that. That's so awesome. It's almost the same thing as kind of like doing shows and fighting. It's almost like the same style, basically. It's like you're going there to perform, put on something, it's you mess up, you're in front of everyone, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's almost kind of the same thing, but a band was called Falling Cycle used, I don't know what movie it was from, but it said, everything you do in life echoes in eternity. And like, to me, I think of that like all the time, of like what I do and the people that are around me as being a leader to a gym, a leader to people like watch me on social media, stuff like that. Like that stuff echoes in eternity. And like even with my kids, man, like whenever I'm doing stuff, like some of you guys have seen my kids hit pads and stuff like that. I don't show them that much stuff, I'll be honest with you. They see our guys, they see me, they see and some if you want to take it back a little bit, like, yeah, I'm not saying like in a religious way to say this, but like preach the gospel at all costs and sometimes use words. So it's easy for me to tell you, hey, don't do this, but then I'm going to do it for myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I try to like live my life where I can be a light to people as much as I possibly can be and be that person. But that also takes a toll on you on like other places too, if that makes sense. True. I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah.
Absolutely. No, and getting into the leadership side of things, man, like I view you as nothing but a leader. You know what I mean? Like the way you conduct yourself, you lead by example. You're a guy who practices what you preach. You treat everyone with respect. You treat everyone the way you'd want to be treated. And I think, you have a cult following in a way because of it in the fight community, in the Muay Thai community. Like, I see your stickers all over town. I see the way your fighters post about your gym and the way your gym's energy is and how everyone treats, like even when I walk into the gym, everyone treats me like a brother and I was a complete stranger at first, you know what I mean? It's fed off of the leader. And I can't preach that enough. And so what year was Sammy's Muay Thai founded?
2021. They right in the middle of COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
So you struck the deal on the on the lease, right? Or like you got the location and then COVID hit, or you got it right after?
So give me a little story back on. My wife got COVID, and we were at the house. I couldn't go to work because obviously I had COVID, or she had COVID. Took tests, didn't say I had it, but I had to be at the house for 15 days. Did work from home, stuff like that for a little bit. And when I went to go back to work, I took another test, and it said I was positive, even though I felt fine. I don't stop moving. I literally painted my entire house on the outside while we had COVID in the house, you know what I mean? So I literally, to be 100% honest, I got super depressed. I talked to one of my buddies one day, and he was like, hey man, come to the gym, come talk to me. And I was like, there's COVID in the house. He's like, bro, everyone has COVID. He was like, just come talk to me. So we started talking. He was like, man, you know hydraulics, you know fighting. That's my entire life has been. So he was like, hey, you should open up your own place. And I was like, man, I don't know. And I was like, and he started talking to me, went back home, started talking to my wife, and it's like, all I could think about was a 45-minute drive home. So all I could think about. And then I was like, I told her about it, and she just started crying because I grew up poor because my parents were entrepreneurs, and so a lot of times, you know, you do good, other times you don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of times it's the times that you don't do good that, you know, you're putting, it's beans and rice all day long, you know what I mean? Which I didn't know you're doing different, which is fine, which works perfect because I can eat the same thing every day now.
I know this. I know this. I give you the same bag of meals.
Yep. But like I say, stuff like that, like everything that we do, just echoes, like, you know what I mean, and carries you on to this next place, like in life, pretty much.
That's so cool, dude. That's so cool. And so you got this gym started up, and I mean, what did you do for marketing? Like, how'd you get people? I mean, because obviously you're a big name in the fight world and in the Muay Thai scene, especially around Houston and Texas in general. So, like, how did you get people coming in?
We started looking at, like, you know, like different names. You know, was it going to be? It was, you know, the fight name is Sammy the Bull, so it was like, should it be the Bulls? My wife's fight name was actually, she's got 26 fights. Her name was the Creeper, so it was like, we thought about maybe like the Creeping Bull, or like, we just didn't know like where we were going with it, you know what I mean? So we were kind of like all over the place, and then like Coupon's Thai boxing, like Sammy's Thai boxing, Sammy the Bull's Thai boxing, like where that started kind of. And then so I got a little app. I don't know anything about freaking artwork on computers or anything. And I got a little app, and it was like trying to make a little logo. Sent it to my buddy Mark Beecher. He owns a gym. And I sent him a logo. I was like, what do you think? He's like, that's trash. I was like, all right, cool. So he's like, I was like, well, I don't know what he's like. I'll work on something. So he sends me something. I was like, man, change the color of this. And he's like, okay, change it to this. And I was like, all right, well, maybe do this. And he's like, oh, it will look good with this. So then, like, all in a matter of 30 minutes, we had this logo. And I remember looking at it, and, like, at that moment, life was starting, if that made sense.
Right.
Like, starting. I walked in there, showed my wife. I was like, this is what. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And if anything, my wife does know, though, this is the reason why I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't get caught up in the crazy crap, because I literally get one-minded, like, and go straight for it. Yeah, you can ask her. There's been plenty of times where I was working on a vehicle. I have a 1954 Ford with a Y block. I took the transmission out. No one here in freaking works on a 54 transmission. Literally took the thing apart, had no clue what I'm doing, and there's no YouTube videos on that. Right. So taking it apart, literally, my wife would come at 3 a.m, find me down in the garage, just wrenching on things, welding things up. So like when my mind's set on things, I lose sleep. I literally all that kind of stuff. So It's like I have like that type of mentality, which is good for fighting. Yeah. But like I said, it's a tool that can carry you up, or it's a tool that can just drive you into the ground really deep. Yeah.
That's good that you know yourself, though, and you know like what you need to do to stay focused on track. And I'm sure you train sometimes and you realize like I've been training for 5 hours. Like what?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I wanted to bring up the logo thing, because you have the most badass logo I've ever seen.
And that's something too. People love that logo.
Yes.
So like for anyone to hand a sticker to someone, they're like, oh, that's dope. What's up? You know what I mean? So, but the logo started. Once we got that going, that was when everything just started kind of coming together. If it makes sense.
That's awesome, because like whenever Cisco brought them to my where I work, My Fit Foods, everyone started putting them all over their like water jugs already, and I was like, well, I don't want to be a poser. I need to at least go and train there before I put the sticker on my water jug. And it has a mustache, and it's just like, oh, dude, the Mexican sugar skull. I mean, it's sick.
Yeah, I usually don't have a mustache. I brought this back just to annoy my wife, and then so that people would recognize me.
Right. It's well, dude. So do you bring the mustache back though for your fights?
I usually when I put the mustache on, it's game time.
Okay.
It's usually when I'm announcing, hey, I'm fighting, which is a possibility. I might know some things coming up pretty soon too. So yeah. So we'll see.
And nutritionally, whenever you prepare for these fights, do you use a nutrition coach?
I have. So whenever I've retired, and then I opened the gym and didn't think I was gonna be able to fight. But I'm really good at building friendships, building people that are going to work hard with me.
Yeah.
So I built this freaking tank, this little army of people. And the next thing I know, I had pad whores up the wazoo and freaking had good training partners and just good people to help lifting me up. And I was like, man, I can do this again. My wife was like, okay, you can't cut 15 pounds of water in one day. Like, this is most of my career has been that. Like, okay, if I need to make weight, like literally I'm flying out in 3 days, I'm flying overseas or I'm doing something, literally eat air and eggs, and if I couldn't make weight, I would just go run. I would call in sick from work.
Wow. And
literally I would run. I've done before, and this is stuff that fighters, if you don't know, you need to educate yourself in this area because you can kill yourself. Like, I lived in the Heights. I ran 2.5 miles to a hot yoga place. I would do hot yoga for an hour and then run back. Easy 10 pounds. Easy 10 pounds. But then you're completely out of water. Then you're flying out on top of that. And then you're cutting weight on top of that. So you're staring at freaking, I would get down to 145 and get back in the ring at 163, 64. So like you cut kind of weight like that at a smaller range. When the bigger they are, obviously, the more weight you can cut. But like my wife was like, you just can't do that anymore. Like, you're getting older, you just can't do that. And I know if I got back in the ring at 163, I couldn't take a punch. I had to move this head around. If I got back in the ring at 159, 58, yeah, we could stand and bang all day long. But if I got in at that weight, I knew I sucked a lot of water off my brain. So I kind of knew my body. I needed to not sit there and trade with someone. I need to stick and move. So you can kind of look at my fights and see. And I could tell you, like, I had a bad cut here. I had a good cut here. You know what I mean? So eventually, as I got older, I was like, man, I got to invest in myself. So I got a nutritionist that was helping me through that kind of stuff. And my last 3 fights, I walked in at weight. So that's been a big thing. My thing is always when I'm not in fight camp, I just start gaining weight again. Because you're just eating what you want. You know what I mean?
Fat kid comes
out. Bro. And then like putting your meals together, 4 or 5 days at a time. All that stuff's a really headache. Whenever I was with my nutritionist, my wife likes health, like, she would jump on with me, obviously, and she would eat the same thing I'm eating, but my wife doesn't. I can literally heat something up and be perfectly okay with it. Do not care. I eat freaking same thing all week long. My wife, she's got to cook it, make sure it's ready to go. Like, so I get home and I'm like half alive, ready to eat right then and there, and she's like, okay, babe, I'll get it ready for you. 45 minutes later, which love her to death for doing that, but at 45 minutes when you're like dying from training all day, you're like... So that's always was kind of hard during camps and stuff like that, but we kind of narrowed that down a little bit too now, so that kind of worked out.
Sounds like you married up.
Yeah.
What's the reason? Yeah. I know. I had to find someone smarter than me, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my kids were gonna be dumb if I found someone dumber than me.
Yeah. No crap. No crap.
No doubt. So, okay, do you feel like when a fighter, because this is my viewpoint on it, it's like these fighters train so hard, right?
Yep.
They cut 15, 20 pounds the day before the fight. They
Yep.
lose their jaw. They lose endurance. They lose strength.
Yes.
So it's counterintuitive. You
And they also lose life off of themselves too.
Yes. Their organs are suffering.
Yeah.
And it takes more than 24 hours to fully rehydrate.
Yep.
And to fully gain that energy back. And so that's why, like, my belief system is tapering guys down for fights, almost like you would a bodybuilder,
Yep.
but always like incrementally 2 pounds a week.
Yeah.
Just give and take.
Even 2 pounds a week is rough for some people.
It is for
It's
sure.
depending on where their weight's at. You know
Correct.
What I mean? Depends on where their weight is at.
And do you suggest that they fight at a weight that naturally supports their height, right? Like, so if you're like 6'2", you're not going to have them get down to like 140s.
No, and I have at 147, I have fought guys that were 6'2", 6'3". How they made weight? No clue. But they did. But like I said, I'm kind of proportionate. So like my legs are big,
Yeah.
upper body, like I'm pretty proportionate. For a Muay Thai guy, I don't have a Muay Thai build. I'm more of an MMA build, but I've made it work for me over the years. And that's just because of like the way I clench, do different things. I do find that there is a weight class that you need to be in. When you first start, you might be heavier. I started at 155. which was fine. Got down there, and then I fought 150, and then 147. Went to 142, too far. I was like see through. Like my freaking back had an 18 pack. Like it's just way too far. Like it's just too much of a struggle for me. Yeah. Even some of the guys are like, you should still fight at 142. I'm like, nah, I'm good, bro.
3% body fat.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm not good. Yeah, so, yeah.
About ready to walk on stage of a bodybuilding show, basically at that point.
Yeah.
Just about to tip over.
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of why we founded Tier 1 Performance, is to help guide athletes, especially nutritionally and with their weightlifting programs. It's like, hey, and we just kind of stumbled upon the fight community because we're like, man, these fighters, they need to be educated on like how to cut weights properly for fights.
Yeah.
Because I had a guy walk in, he was 6'2", trying to get to 145 for a boxing match, WBC, pro boxer. And I talked to his coach. I said, hey, he's at 5% body fat, and he's at 180. To get him to 145, 150, he'd have to lose a ton of muscle and water. And that's all he can lose. He didn't have any fat to lose.
Yeah.
He went to the fight, lost on a decision. His coach reached out to me and said, you're right. We need to fight at like 170, 165, 170 for his height. And I said, absolutely. I think what you're doing, too, to your fighters, you're saying, hey, we don't think that you can win at this weight, right? Hey, you have to get the advantage, the height advantage, right? But that's not everything, because guys who are stockier and have some strength can utilize that in their arsenal as well. Like, what would you say is your style of fighting?
Personally, for myself, there's a reason why they call me the Bull, was because like I will go forward and just
close the distance,
run into whatever's in front of me. I'm a lot slicker. I'm more of kind of Sammy the Squid these days, because I literally I like to move a little bit more. Back in the day, I used to just run through guys.
Right.
But that's not the best for IQ, like as you get older, you know what I mean? Scar tissue and everything of that sort. But it's one of those things where, like, for me, like moving forward, we're entertainers. So if you're a boring fighter and no one's there to see that, you get the win and you're a boring fighter, no one's there to see that. The last time I fought here, I think I sold over $17,000 worth of tickets. And the reason for is because whether you like me or you don't, I'm showing up. Either I'm bleeding or they're bleeding. It's one of the two. So one of us is going to get hurt.
Yes.
And then, like, it's a sport. We're having fun. We're friends afterwards most of the time. But I'm there to freaking have fun, with what we're there to do. You put all that time, your family, your diet, your life, your sleep, all that stuff is all put into one deal for that night. And that's one of those things where, like, oh, I'm ready and whatever. And my wife's usually in the back with me, and usually the curtain's right there. And I always ask someone like this, I'm like, why do this, babe? And she's like, because it's what you do. And then music starts, and then walk out there and do your thing. Yeah.
That's so cool. So you like to be surrounded by family and friends entering a fight, rather than like secluding yourself.
Yes, I'm one of those guys though. I'm usually one of the last fights, and I'll go to sleep. Literally through the whole time. Unless I got guys fighting on the card. I've had the Muffin Man fought before. I think Cisco fought before. Like, I'm helping getting the guys ready. Mm-hmm. As it's more of a higher caliber fighter, I'll make sure that they're taken care of by other coaches. And then I don't need to. I tell them if they're on the card with me, I'm obviously not going to play coach as much as I would like to be. Unless it's like a smaller card and I'm like on the. But usually, if it's in Texas, I'm usually going to be like kind of one of the top ones or whatever. So it just kind of depends on. But the fun part where you say family and friends, it's like, because you train together, you sweat, you tear, the blood, everything together, it becomes a family. So there's no differentials between family and friends, to be 100% honest. Yeah.
Right. That's so cool. It's a crazy, like, I think everyone, would you say that everyone needs to learn martial arts?
I would definitely say to some point, because like you might look at some big swole dude that's jacked, that looks, obviously got tattoos. I look effed off, but like I literally I had a guy. I drive a Beetle. A guy told me to pull over, and I'm like thinking in my head like, he better have a gun. Right. Obviously, like I can't. I'll get in trouble. We're licensed, so we'll get in trouble. But at the same time, like, when you don't know of like guys that are training and what they're capable of, when I see a big strong dude that's 6 foot 6'5", it does not matter to me. These guys that see me at the gym freaking kick dudes that are freaking 6'9", 6'5" in the head, and I'm 5'8" on a good day. But but usually like you look at people differently when you like training and stuff. So like somebody think they look this way, but this way everyone's got gun these days, so you gotta
It's Texas.
Yeah, no, personally, I mean, honestly, fighting kind of slows you down in that. If you're in the right gym, like, and you're training, and you're being around the right culture of people, like, it slows that down for you. You're like, some dude's like, man, flicking you off when you pull over, you're like, yeah, bro, that's cool. Like, you're cute. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to me, like, I don't really have that. Like, I have nothing to prove to you. Like, you know, I'm out here, like, living life the best I possibly can for me and my family. Yeah. And I'm not going to let some a-hole just, like, mess that up for no reason. Everything that I've worked for and blow it out because you wanted to act like an idiot and maybe I accidentally cut you off. I said sorry. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. Let's talk about gym culture too, because you brought that up.
Yeah.
How important is that to you, and how do you establish that gym culture as a leader?
So our gym is overpacked, which is a good problem to have as a gym owner. More of annoying because I don't get sleep because I get texts and calls all night long about, you know, this is going on, that's going on, whatever. And I'm that kind of guy. You text me, I will reply. Okay.
You're very fast responding.
So I try to. It's not that I try to be that guy. I am that guy, and for a lot of guys, and you'll run into guys that are the same age as me, and they're freaking calling me dad, and it's like a joke, but it's kind of not at the same time because there's a lot of kids out there. I say kids in the 20s that freaking don't have dads or don't have people that kind of show them the way, and people like me and my guys that are under take that place sometimes. Gym culture, before we spar, I literally tell this every time. It's annoying, but I feel like I have to say it every time. I tell them, I do not care about your memberships. If you're an a-hole, the doors are right here and here and here. I was like, if you get in a piss match with someone, I'm going to tap you on the shoulder, I'm going to tell you to get out. If I have to do it twice, I'm going to cancel your membership, and you can just leave. Okay, I'm not okay with people getting beat on. Yes, we're not knitting sweaters. I get that. We're fighting. We are not fighting. We're sparring. Okay, there's a big difference in that. Right. Now, it's my gym. Some guys will freaking try to swing hard on me and different stuff. Or, you know, we've had guys that are like garage fighters and different things kind of come in and do different things. Like, sign a waiver here, buddy. Yeah. And then I'll tell my guys, like, hey, if he swings hard, like, and he has bad intentions behind it. Right. There's different levels between a dude that's 200 pounds, his 80%, someone that's my 80%, or someone that's 120 pounds, 80%, you know what I mean? But the intentions of, like, seeing someone bite their mouth guard, like, trying to actually hurt you, that's a different story than actually walking in and getting hit and being like, oh, crap, I saw a star. Like, I got rocked for a second. And that's usually, you good? And like, yeah, I'm good. And then when your dude tells you he's good and you can see in his eyes he's not, and you slow it down and you just start going to his body opposed to, I'm going to finish that guy, you know what I mean? Yeah. Now, there's a lot of gyms that will do that, but also, too, as many fights as I've had, as long as I've been training, like, I've been able to do that because of taking care of my partners, having my partners take care of me, you know what I mean? So, for me, the culture in the gym is what stands alone from, like, other places. It's not, the money will come. I have really people like, you should do this and do that and whatever, and I'm like, yeah, cool, no, I'm going to do that. Right. And the reason why I don't do that because it's not me, it's not my passion, it's not what I love behind it. I pay for kids' coaches, I pay for my wife to do the women's kickboxing. I make sure so I don't spread myself out thin, so that I can't be me when I'm teaching. If that makes sense. And like I have guys come in that sometimes, man, people sometimes you might run into some guys just like an a-hole, like just an a-hole. But you know what? He was surrounded by a-holes. And that's the way he thinks he has to be. Or he thinks that he's got to step on someone's throat to get to the top. You don't. You don't have to be that guy. I try to kill people with kindness. I have people when I go to fights, and it's like there's guys that don't like me because of success and different things, and that kind of hurts my feelings. Like, you know, they don't. I try to be nice to them, but you know what makes them even more annoyed is you come up and you shake their hand. You're like, "What's up, bro? Doing good today? How's everything going? Kids good? Yeah, that's good, man.
They hate that.
How's the gym? It's good too. Cool, perfect, man. All right, man, we have a good day. Be safe. Or even better, you put your arm around them and like sit there and chat with them when you can tell they don't want to have a conversation with you.
Right.
I'm just giggling inside. But at the same time, like I said, kill people with kindness. Right. You know what I mean? I tell my guys, treat people how you want to be treated. It's a very simple equation. If people live that life that way more, I think it would be humanity would take things to a whole nother level, if that makes sense. But there's douchebags are out there. They're always going to step on you. The people that are kind and seeking to help people always find the people that are trying to help. And it's always the finders of the givers find the takers, and the takers find the givers. And you got to know how to kind of like control that and kind of help it. So as a leader myself, I'm still trying to figure that out as myself to, hey, help this guy get out. Okay, now his shoe's still on fire. Oh, my foot's on fire now. You know what I mean? Like how to put things out together as a team. You know what I mean? So as I got these other guys that are coming up under me, it goes like this at the gym. So starts here, obviously, with me and my wife. and then it goes here. And if these guys aren't helping here, then I just move them up to here. And then it just goes down here. And if they don't want to be a part of it, I had a coach one time tell me, and some guys like, hey man, you're at the gym. You're at a gym, bro. They're not going to like each other. And I looked him square in the face and I said, yes, they will.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to be that guy, then leave. You can go anywhere else and be that guy. You're not going to be that guy here. So that's my strong personal opinion on life. And it sucks to try to be that person because we are all born in a self-destructive way. So what I mean by that is like, no matter you're believing like some type of creator or something out there, like we all wake up in the morning and choose self-destruct. Whether it's every day you're closer to death, every day you want to help yourself get to a closer to death, or hey, you want to wake up in the morning and you want to decide to be a good person. Do you decide to wake up to be that douchebag every day, or you decide to wake up and be a person that's going to uplift the people that are around you, if that makes sense? And you know what? It would be easier for me to cuss. It would be easier for me to be an a-hole, but I don't choose to be that person because it's a harder route.
Yes.
So to me, I feel like my personal opinion is I try to be uplifting and try to be towards other people how I want to be. I say create the world that you want to live in, even though if I treat these guys good and they're not treating me well as back, then I'm just going to take my view here a little bit more and then go here. And then these guys, and then this guy starts understanding what's going on here, and then it just goes like this.
Right.
And that's what's happened in the last 2 years 2.5 years at the gym, you know what I mean? And that's the reason why we need a bigger place. That's why we have people that are, and if you go in our Google reviews and see like people telling their stories and stuff, it's not just, oh man, the gym's clean, they got cool Thai pads, the coach has a mustache. Like it's not really too much like that. It's people telling their life stories out there, you know what I mean? So,
It's a family.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
very
for
much
sure.
a family endeavor. And like, I feel like you say calm, cool, collected all the time. And I think when you start yelling and cussing at people right off the bat, it does show weakness to a certain extent. You
It
know what I
does.
mean? Like,
It does. Insecurities,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Which we are, as men, we all have that.
Right.
And we have to rise to the occasion. And what's the occasion? Is it, okay, hey, we're starting class? Or is it waking up in the morning saying, hey, I'm going to be this person today? And this is who I want to be for myself, my wife, my kids, the people that see me. And the guys that have known me for 2.5 years, you know, they've seen me in my darkest places and they've seen me in my highest places, you know what I mean? And there's been, even recently, just for me, like just, you give so much that like you got to make sure to refill your tank, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Whatever that looks like, you have to figure that out. And there's days that like, man, I don't want to get out of bed for 2 days. And so like stuff like that is like where you figure out how to refill yourself so that you can be that person, if that makes sense. Because I always said for years, and I'll say this probably to the day I die, I always wanted to be for me. And what I mean by that is like, this is the person that I want to be. And you have different people to kind of mold that person together, if that makes sense. But like, I go out of my way to do things, and like, I go out of my way to do things for people, and I'm like, then I'm sitting there like hung up on dry, like, dang, you know what I mean? So, that's a good thing and a bad thing, especially with the family. And I feel like a lot of martial art gyms, you have to be really careful because my kids love the gym, and I'm so grateful for that. And the reason why is because I try to, if my kids come in and they ask, and you can ask anyone at the gym, like I'm teaching in the middle of the class, my son comes up, everyone's world stops for his for a second.
Yes.
It's a question? Okay, cool. Blah, 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 blah. And then I go back to teaching class. Now, as a business owner, that's probably not the best decision to possibly do, but as a father, that's the best position that I can do.
Yeah.
So certain things always kind of play in my head, and so I try to like think about that kind of stuff so that I can be a good role model, I guess, for my kids and stuff. So
I feel like people respect that too. Like, you know, they're not going to view that as like, oh, he took the time to, you know, say hi to his kid. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think if anyone has a good head on their shoulders, they'll be like, no, it's a great father, great leader, great fighter.
in person, if they don't like it, they can leave.
They can leave.
Like,
the door.
yeah, very simple. Yeah.
That's so awesome, man. Well, dude, this has been an honor, and like, I do want to talk more into other topics down the road, and of course, after you fight, we'd love to get you back on.
Yep.
But man, it's been an honor and a privilege, and thank you for coming on tonight, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Anytime, bro. Appreciate you, man.
3, 2,